there's no one who's been able to produce the talent that we have. We've rebuilt since COVID. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a long 10 years, but I look back on what we've achieved and it's been amazing.
As you mentioned there, the Judgement Day coming in.
I still don't think anyone really properly captured the feel of what happened when JD and Finn Balor came up on the screen.
My one question is, who the hell ratted us out with his long rant? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the FiveMarks Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, as always, Mr. Martin115, joined by my darling co-host with the most.
I am Cameron. Welcome back for another week.
Another week indeed, and we are getting closer and closer and closer to one of the biggest nights of Irish wrestling. And we have gone out and got the man himself behind the biggest promotion in European wrestling, the brains of Over the Top Wrestling. We are joined by Joe Cabray.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm good.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Not too bad.
We're just talking off air about your background and everything and how it's putting mine to shame.
Yeah, this is kind of like my office area today, so yeah, I was like, this will be a decent background. It was either that or I was going to jump into my car and do it from my car, but hopefully this will work. Plus, I have a little bit of light from the computer screen as well, so
brighten it up a bit.
Yeah.
So I want to start this off. Get that kind of elephant out of the room that everyone's here for one question. It's been talked about a lot, and I feel like we need some answers. When you turned the lights off on Barry inside the gym, did you also lock the cameraman inside that gym?
Everyone got locked in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, everyone has to deal with the wrath of when things are not going too smoothly. Yeah, so poor old Barry got locked in for a little while, but I think he was happy he got some training done.
In the dark train, he had the night vision glasses that night.
Yeah.
Carmel, I'll let you start us off here.
I'll say hopefully it pays off going into Scrappermania anyway. But look, I actually want to start with last year's Scrappermania, where you decided to make your retirement on that night in the Fatal Four, or the big Fatal Four-way tag match at the end of the show. Was that the decision that you kind of knew for a while, or was it just something that you kind of decided coming up to the time?
I've no kind of aspirations to be an in-ring performer anymore, so it was kind of I'd done this match because it made good sense in terms of storylines, but I've kind of no hankering to get back in the ring. So my injuries as well are kind of caught up with me, and I wasn't in the ring regularly enough as well. So I was kind of like talking to some friends, and I was like, you know what, this is a good show. I'm in the ring with like people that I really care about as well, and they're good friends, and this would be a hell of a way to go out. So it was probably about 3 weeks beforehand I made the call that this would be my final one.
Well, one question I was actually going to ask you on that was, because I know you've said in the past that you really like the kind of production side of the wrestling more than the actual wrestling. Like, a lot of people kind of retire and they're not content, but you seem very content that, yeah, I'm happy, it's done. There's not that like massive itch to go again.
No, I mean, I'm kind of lucky that I had a passion for professional wrestling as a performer, but I kind of found maybe even more of a passion for the other side of the ring, kind of being backstage and producing shows and promoting shows. So it wasn't actually too hard of a decision for me, to be honest with you. I kind of done everything that I wanted to achieve in wrestling. I achieved more than I ever thought I would. I never thought I'd get to Japan or WWE or kind of like be on tour buses with people I kind of idolized. So I was very happy to call it a day at that point. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah. Look, I'm going to move on to the 10th year anniversary. Before we kind of get into the bigger news of the 10th year anniversary, did you ever think that you'd get that far to make it to a 10th year anniversary in OTT?
No. No, to be honest with you, no. It's been a hell of a ride, some ups and downs. But yeah, it's been a long 10 years. But I look back on what we've achieved, and it's been amazing. I mean, like you kind of think that you've peaked when you have, Kenny in the books, and then years later you have Cody Rhodes in the ring, and you have Judgment Day in the ring, and it's all just been amazing, kind of like to see it unfold, and it's been amazing for the fans, and it's been amazing as well for Irish wrestling to be able to be a part of making those things happen, not just for the fans as well, but for the locker room. It means a lot for the young guys as well coming up to share the locker room with people like Judgment Day or Kenny in the books and stuff like that. So yeah.
Is there
100%. And
anything
look, I
in the
suppose,
kind of
sorry.
is there anything in the kind of 10 years of OTT that kind of stands out to you in your memory that go where you kind of sat back and went, yeah, okay, we're gonna go fairly far here.
Um, I think at one point we were able to do the national stadium, sorry, the National Basketball Arena in Dublin, and I think that was like January, and then I think we went back into the National Stadium, National Boxing Arena in like March. I think there was a period of time where we did like 4,000 people in the space of like weeks, and that was amazing to see as well. So yeah, there's so many times as well you look back and there's so many kind of like things. I remember like it was a huge thing for me to get Chris Hero over, and I thought like that's it now. I've got Chris Hero to Dublin, but my God, if people had been able to tell me as to other projects I would have been working on and trying to get people over, I probably would never have believed them. So it's all been. We'll probably hit on some of these things on the podcast that I've probably forgotten about and said, yeah, I've totally forgotten about that. That was amazing as well. So been quite blessed as well to be around so many talented people and last as long as I have in wrestling because I'm coming up to 21 years myself, been involved in the wrestling business, and it's been an amazing journey to be honest with you. And if it ended tomorrow, I have achieved so much that I could never kind of be sad. I overachieved to be quite honest with you.
There's a lot of fan questions as well that kind of speak on some of the stuff you just spoke on there. But look, I think some of the big things that a lot of the OTT fans anyway have been talking about, as you mentioned there, the Judgment Day coming in. We've obviously seen Lyra Valkyria and Pete Dunne come in as well. How has this all came about? And I suppose the thing for us as fans as well is the fact that like we've seen other WWE superstars appear in other promotions, but that's just appear. But the fact that we're getting to these guys to wrestle in OTT, how has all this come about?
I think it's just a testament to how far OTC has become. Sorry, has come. That we are kind of like um, that we are trusted essentially to have like the WWE tag team champions on our roster, and sorry, not on our roster, but on our canvas. And I think that's a huge credit to what we've not just myself, but like the rest of the people who are working behind the scenes at OTC have achieved. But yeah, it's just I suppose it's just coming down to recognition and being recognized as probably one of the top promotions in Europe, if not the top promotion in Europe. And I've been told from people like it's like when we want to know what's going on in Europe, we watch OTT because we're quite satisfied knowing that Joe is probably using the top talent from around Europe. So, yeah, it's just I suppose like the hard work of not just myself but many people in the production crew, the guys in the back. All their hard work has been able to make all this happen, which is amazing to see as well.
I want to
Suppose as
ask
well,
you
like
when it came to actually the actual video package playing, because obviously when we had you on last time, Sam was very much, oh, Joe gets extremely nervous because it was like very few people knew that Finn and Jordan were coming. So that video package plays and the eruption that happens. How are you feeling before the Judgment Day came up on the screen that they're coming to 10th anniversary?
Um, I think we were really up against it at the time about getting it crossed over the line. Basically, what happened was I'd reached out to Fergal and Jordan. I was like, "Wouldn't this be amazing if it was able to happen?" And it kind of just all started to kind of like conversations were had and feelers were put out, and they weren't met with an immediate no, which was kind of like a new, kind of like the new direction that the WWE's going in. It wasn't just a cut off. No, the WWE Tag Team Champions are not coming to Dublin to perform on a an OTT independent wrestling show. Um, so I think it was maybe. I think because this was the Dolph Ziggler show that we played the video on from what I remember. But
Yeah.
yeah, I remember I was stepped foot in Wolverhampton for the Friday night show, and that Friday morning I got an email saying that it was all cleared and that it could happen. And I was like, right, we got to get a video made. I'd already clued Matthew Macklin, our videographer, into this as a possibility, so he had a video ready to go, and we got this really cool voiceover. And I just remember, to be very, very honest with you, I think there was maybe four people that I told. It was really, really tight because loose lips sink ships, and I wasn't going to take any kind of chances
Yeah.
in blowing this announcement. But and as well, there was nothing to tell. I mean, I basically found out on the Friday. We did the show in Wolverhampton on Saturday morning. We showed up to do the show in Dublin and make the announcement later that night. But yeah, there was maybe three or four people who knew that we were going to announce JD and Balor at that show. So it was an amazing achievement to pull it off. And I remember just saying to one of the guys, I was like, "There's going to be a video package playing, but just make sure you record the crowd's kind of response to it." And I still don't think anyone really properly captured the feel of what happened when JD and Finn Balor came up on the screen. It was an amazing kind of another kind of like amazing OT moment to have, which was really nice.
I think as well the video does not justify how loud we all roared. Every
Yeah,
single one of us lost our voice.
yeah, it was insane. And every kind of it's kind of weird because like every other video I picked up of it, like it was like no one ever really caught that atmosphere. It was just at the time it was just insane.
It's a huge surprise. But I suppose as well, like a lot of people are asking now, is there that relationship with WWE? Is there a chance that we do see more people coming over to OTT?
Um, I don't really know. It's hard to talk about the workings, but it's not an easy feat. Like, and it's understandable as well. I mean, these are like we've gotten you like proper defeat superstars, like the main roster top people. I mean, the tag team champions. Um, I don't know is the short answer. I mean, we have a very good relationship there, but it's I mean at the same point, you just have to watch this space. We'll always try and get the best for the fans. I mean, I think we've delivered that over the years,
Yeah.
but it's not always so easy.
It's the old saying of never say never in wrestling.
Absolutely. I mean, like if someone had said to me, "Do you think the tag team champions will ever appear in OTC?" And I was like, "Probably not." But you can never say never. I mean, it happened, so anything can happen, I suppose. But yeah, it's not just an easy thing of like calling up and saying, "Hey." Um, and rightfully so. I mean, like it's you're being trusted with top level performers. So I can only say watch this space, hopefully, but I couldn't make any promises on that one.
One thing I kind of want to cut into, it's kind of go more on the how did this come about, but OTT wrestling on Ireland AM. That was a very, very fun time, especially entertaining time to watch Ireland AM a few months ago. I think it was leading into your Scrapboard 10th anniversary. How did that come about?
Just someone brought a contact their way, and it kind of worked out. We got contacted about a lot of that stuff, you know. Because wrestling is kind of unique, and a lot of people, like, we got a lot of influencers as well asking can they do collab videos and stuff. But we said we give the TV tree weather a good pop, but it's kind of hard to see as well as to how much crossover that actually kind of helps, if there's any kind of knock on from it. But it did get some eyes on us, and let people at TV3 know that the Irish wrestling exists and that we are a thing. That's the thing as well when you say to these people like that they can't wrap their head around that you outdraw Irish boxing. I've no issue with Irish boxing, but when you see like TV specials of Irish boxing and there's like 800 people in the crowd, and then you have Irish wrestling product that's selling out the stadium. So yeah, there's. I think even for TV3, they were kind of surprised that there's actually a wrestling scene in Ireland and it's thriving.
I want to ask as well. I I don't remember the presenter's name, but was there any convincing, or was he very much up for let's see how it's done? Because he took splashes, slams, the whole lot.
I think it was Derek. Yeah, he was really up for everything, and he actually got hurt. Yeah, he got hurt. Jay, I think, did a 450 or may have done a splash, and he hadn't got his arms in properly beside his side, and Jay's knee went into his bicep. So yeah, it was quite sore, and he had a newfound respect for it as well. Like, he was like, I had no idea that this was so difficult, but he was really up for it. He was really up for kind of just like doing as much entertainment as possible at that time of the morning.
We can say that was the start of Jay's knee injury right there and then on live television.
In Derek's bicep from TV3.
Kind of give good promotion for OTT, but it also gave great promotion for the School of Irish Wrestling, which has
Yeah.
obviously just expanded. You've obviously moved to a new location, and like you have a lot more people, I suppose, training there. Like, what's I suppose the biggest benefit of having the Irish School of Wrestling along with OTT?
I mean, I don't think there's any other school that's kind of producing the talent that we do. And it's kind of a testament to the environment as well that we create. It's a very much kind of like a group of people that are spurring each other on. It's just a good atmosphere. It's a good environment to learn. But we're I kind of say it as well. Like, we're looking for people that are kind of dedicated. Personally, I kind of like just lose interest in people who are just trotting along. It's not for me. I'm trying to produce professional wrestlers and people who want to chase this as a passion. I have no issue with it if you want to use it as a hobby. That's amazing as well. But for me, like, my time is kind of spent, getting people like Jim Smallman to our school, who, is a WWE representative. Kind of having Finn Balor at the school with JD, and getting kind of putting people in a situation where, or an opportunity where they can really learn this business. And there's a lot of great people in the School of Irish Wrestling, like myself. 20 years in wrestling as a high level wrestler and a promoter as well. And then you've Paddy Morrow, who's one of the best in Ireland. The guy, Paddy just got it from the get go. I remember when we were all young and breaking in, Paddy was always the one that you just watch and study, like, because he just got it.
100%.
As well as that, I do believe we have a question on one of your trainers or one of your trainees there, Boots. I believe you have a question on that, Martin.
This could be
So,
interesting.
my one question is, who the hell ratted us out with his long rant? Someone's not out for him, but out for us. Who ratted us out?
The internet ratted him out. It was on the internet, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was, yeah.
yeah.
And you guys
Well,
probably cut it up for shock value as well.
More than likely, probably. Yeah.
I will say I was in the middle of work and got a text like, "Yo, Joe's after tweeting about a clip of your podcast," and I went, "Hardly." Went straight to Twitter, and I was just like, "Go back downstairs now. I'm gonna go hide away because Joe Cabray is clearly is out for blood now, and it's probably our fault."
Well, I suppose if you're going to mount off, I've no problem with it, but you got to back it up. You got to back it up. You can't. There's nothing as bad as someone mounting off and not backing it up. So you got to back it up.
100%, 100%. We didn't get the answer. I'm gonna go and blame Shane anyways, but And speaking of Shane, like we're talking about like OTT kind of developing over the 10 years, OTT Insider has become kind of like an Irish wrestling fan's kind of favorite thing to watch now with Shane and that other guy we don't talk about. Um, how is that like for you? Like having the lads kind of fill in between those shows and kind of help build the stories that you're trying to tell?
We've been looking for it for the longest time. I kind of like. I was even considering building a studio for it myself and maybe doing it myself, but then I got talking to Shane, and Shane had already said, like, they already have a setup, because Shane is involved in Dice Man Productions, which is kind of like a multimedia editing company and stuff. So he'd already got the cameras there, the editing software. He knew what he was doing. Um, he's already done podcasts, so he said he would love to take it on, so as a kind of like a little project with Tate and the boys. So it's been really nice. I think it's like a nice little easy watch show for fans to kind of like keep in contact and kind of keep up with what's going on. And it's funny as well, which is an added bonus. It's not kind of dry. It's an easy watch, which we love.
It is a very easy watch, except for the other guy. I could do without him, but I'm also not allowed to say his name anymore. So, Carmel, I'll throw it to you now.
Kind of one of my last questions before we get into the fan questions. And this is kind of a fan question as well. Last week we saw the OTT debut at the Ambassador, which is a great arena, great place to watch wrestling. Do we see more shows happening in the Ambassador?
Yeah, definitely, but not probably not on a monthly basis. I think the way things have become is, you can't venues have become so expensive, and insurance have become so expensive, and flights and everything has just become so expensive. We're all living in Ireland, and those who live
Hmm.
in Dublin know about it as well. I mean, it was kind of sad that I was in Germany last weekend, and I bumped into a friend of mine, and he travels the world. He's lucky enough to travel the world and just watches wrestling shows as a fan. He's been to Tokyo Dome. He's been to the Manias all over the States. He travels to all the big PLEs around Europe. And he came to our anniversary show and he said that Dublin was by far the most expensive place he's ever had to navigate, which is kind of sad to hear, but it's just the way it is. So I would say definitely more ambassador shows, but like I think we're just going to start spreading shows out. We're not going to hit Dublin as often. Um, Basically, what we would like to do is kind of scale back the amount of shows, um, and do less shows, but do bigger shows that are packing more of a punch, and we're not in the market as frequently. So that would probably be the plan moving along. Um, yeah.
One thing I want to ask on kind of that basis is there any kind of plans with OTT to kind of like I know you're cutting back shows, but even to like kind of move more outside of Dublin as well, like kind of like how you used to do like Limerick and stuff like that. I know you spoke on this before. Is there any kind of plans with that?
Uh, yeah, I mean, we're in the early stages of kind of like looking at maybe, kind of hitting the big markets during the summertime. It's just, kind of taking some time. I think the problem as well is not particularly Limerick, but like some of the other places around Ireland are getting wrestling from LDN and Mega Slam, and it's trash and it's killing towns. And the reason why they're coming to Ireland is because they've already killed the towns that they're doing in England because of the shit show. It's the 6, 7 wrestler show, and it's just hokey. It's kind of everything as to why OTT was started. It was started to take it out of the GA halls, to stop having wrestlers walk through a door as an entrance way and stuff, and take it away from all that kind of hokey stuff. But it's kind of hard to, we tried Derry there a while ago, and we went into Derry, and unfortunately, we just had the stink of the previous show that was there a month or so previous. So yeah, we would like to move out, but we're not going to do watered down OTT shows. If we're going to bring OTT to like Cork, or if we're going to bring it to Limerick, it's going to be an OTT show, a proper show. So it's just about making it happen. As I said, I do believe, kind of working a bit more with MCD, that it probably will happen this year, that we will do stuff, open more markets maybe, and I think like Cork, possibly Galway, and places like that.
One question I'm going to ask, because a lot of people ask this actually in the fan Q&A, is the relationship now with MCD and how that even started. Because they're a big deal in Ireland.
Yeah, I mean they're one of the biggest promotional groups in Ireland. They promote all the big shows and the big gigs. So yeah, we're going to give it a shot, But because I think MC will help us kind of get into bigger markets and do bigger stuff. So yeah, and again, it's just another recognition of the hard work that we've been doing. That's even MC is starting to take notice that here's an Irish wrestling promotion or an Irish wrestling product that's able to do 2,000 people at the National Stadium a few times a year. So
And hopefully one of them
I'm
might
just
come
gonna
to
ask.
the show and be like, oh yeah, so it actually is good.
yeah, yeah. Well, I suppose like it's there's a lot of kind of like, I wouldn't say ignorance to wrestling, but as I said to you there earlier in the podcast, there's so many people that are just clueless that Irish wrestling is a thing. It
Hmm.
has a very, very loyal and great big fan base in Ireland, and it just doesn't get the recognition. But like I always say it as well, like look at Becky Lynch, like she's a superstar and millions of followers across social media accounts, and even in Ireland, she doesn't get the recognition. She goes on the Tommy Tiernan show, and so like it's just we'll always be fighting for that recognition, I think.
Look, it's the last question I have anyway before we move into the fan questions. I don't know about you, Martin, but
One more.
what, in your opinion, if anything, is missing in Irish wrestling?
Um, I think it's missing in indie wrestling in general. I don't think there's anyone really, really, really stepping up. Um, I mean, there's people saying they're stepping up, but they're not. I mean, I remember when lads were stepping up and girls were stepping up. I I think there's so much talent on the indie scenes, but I think there's a lot of the top guys are cruising at the moment. I don't think there's anyone really kind of like Joe Hendry's an example of someone who's a workhorse and deserves everything that he's got. And how did that happen for Joe Henry? Because Joe Henry's worked his ass off for the past 10 years. And you just don't see much of that like anymore. I think there's a lot of top guys, but a lot of top guys are just waiting for the opportunities instead of taking their opportunities. And yeah, I think there was a lot of I think as well one of the biggest problems with wrestling today is that there's just you've so much saturation. There's so many people in wrestling. There's so many wrestling schools as well. So you have a little bit of saturation as well. But yeah, I suppose I think are you talking about Irish wrestling or European wrestling?
Himself was Irish wrestling, but like either or.
Someone is just going to take off by themselves. Everyone in Ireland takes off when they have OT behind them, really push them. But who's going to do it by themselves? Um, Something like that. Someone that had the work ethic that was just going to say, no matter what, I'm going to keep putting out content. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to work my ass off. I think Irish wrestling needs a Joe Henry. To be quite honest with you, someone who's a workhorse.
Is there anyone in Irish wrestling, not even like, doesn't even have to be today, that you would even use an example like look at that person going off to there now and actually doing the work and getting the rewards.
We had Finn Balor and JD at our school there in October, right? They came down to talk to the guys beforehand. I mean, you just hear JD and Finn Balor's story, and you just hear the mentality. I mean, it didn't happen for Finn Balor. The first time. He quit his job and he went over to America to try and make it, and it didn't happen. And he came back, and he could have been, kind of defeated, and he got back over there and tried it for the second time. It's the second time that's when someone said to him, maybe you should go down to the New Japan Dojo, and that's how it all worked out for him. But like when you hear people's stories like Sheamus, and I mean, I have to say, like, if you look at the Irish wrestling scene today, like a lot of the top guys are Italian. Renzo Rose, Sam, Bittersweet Josh, and it's because like they were so dedicated that they moved Ilya Zarkov. They moved their life from Italy to come to Dublin to train to be professional wrestlers. That's the way. That's the reason why they live here. But that's the level of dedication them guys have, and that's why they're kind of doing quite well at the moment.
One question I have for you. Actually, I'm gonna come back to my questions in a second because I seen this on the forums the other day, and I feel like I have to ask this question. How do you feel about a petition being made for Renzo Rose to get an OTT world title shot?
Blah. I thought the petition was for him to come back, and it was signed by like seven people. It was quite embarrassing.
People love Renzo here, as you can see.
I don't
We
think
do love
so.
Renzo, though.
Yeah.
My question
in,
is,
in very small doses.
my question is about the local rumble, and it's because I want to kind of when you're planning out the actual local rumble match, how much kind of planning goes into it, and how far out are you starting to plan the match and how you want it to flow and how it's going to go?
It would probably be done maybe 2 weeks beforehand, with maybe one or two people that I think have a very good mind for it. But I think we've booked two incredibly well booked Royal Rumbles. Essentially, I think the first one was great, and I think the second one was every bit as good. And it's about kind of like trying to visualize as to what stories you want to get over and what moments you want to make in that Rumble, and who do you want to kind of tease stuff between. And I think we did a very, very good job. It flowed really well, and I think the boys in the back were saying as well, like they were all, even the top guys on the roster who've been around forever, they were really happy with it as well. So it was kind of a good testament as well to say that we got it right, and I think we did get it right. I think people very much enjoyed that show.
Well, that's all the
I think
Cardinals.
that's
Other
a show
questions you
that's.
have?
Sorry, I was just going to continue on what you were just saying there. Do you think that the local rumble is something that we're going to get every year now going forward?
I would hope so. I think the first one was the really solid. I think the one at the National Stadium worked very well. I don't know if we do, three money matches again. We'd probably keep the money match, but probably come up with something different. The local rumble is kind of supposed to be not supposed to be like your every go kind of your every time show. It's supposed to be like a little bit of a different kind of national stadium feel show to it. So I think we achieved that. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I would like to. I mean, have to ask the fans. I mean, my feeling on it it was very well received by the fans. So if they want to see it back in the National Stadium next year, hopefully we can do that. But I would like to make it a National Stadium kind of regular show every year.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll throw that out to the fans anyways and see what people say. Carmel,
I'll
have
answer for
you?
the fans. I want to see it. I
Yes.
want to see it
Yeah.
anyway. So.
I feel
Okay.
like I feel like it flowed
Two down, 198
yeah,
to go.
yeah. couple hundred to go now.
Yeah.
I do feel like it does flow really well. The one thing I missed this year was the camera shot going like across at last year's one. I thought that shot was just so cool.
Yeah, that was our guy Sean, and he actually was at that local Rumble show, if I can remember, but we couldn't find a place to anchor that camera from what I remember. But yeah, it was incredibly cool. All right, yeah.
I love different like especially the ambassador. You had the overhead camera. The second I seen
Yeah, it
that, I
was
went, oh.
just a shame. I mean, we were going for a different look as well to this show. We kind of wanted to be a bit more kind of tively, grungy vibe, not overproduced, but I think the lighting was a little bit of a letdown. We got into the show on the day, and just the lighting was just not sufficient. And but that's just how it goes. We kind of ran around and we got it fixed. In fairness, as well to MC, like we all kind of huddled together and got extra lights and stuff. But thank God we did because it was still quite dark. But 100% for sure. MC were kind of unhappy as well about the lighting as well. So the next show as well, we will definitely have the lighting fixed.
Sounds fucking good to me. Carmel, any more questions before we head on to the fan Q&A?
Sorry, before we go to the thank you and anyway.
Sounds good to me. I'll let you pick up the first question over from Facebook.
Yeah, 100%. So Johnny McElroy asks, Pro Wrestling the North is going through a great period with some great young talent also emerging. We've seen John McCann recently getting a match in OTT. Are there any other talents in the North getting your attention?
I think obviously like John is one of the top guys. He moves really well. Mila Grace also has just come back from Japan. But no, I kind of haven't had the time to really go down there and check out some of the talent. But I'm always interested in kind of producing homegrown talent as well for that kind of market. So if there is any of them, we will definitely find them and pull them out. Yeah, for sure.
I have one question coming over from the Instagram. Oh, that's from Tate. We'll skip that. 1 second. Now find another one asking Tate once. So, what was your favorite import to step inside an OTT ring?
I would say I suppose Judgment Day. It was just amazing to kind of have the guys, Fergal in the ring and JD back. It was a memorable moment both I kind of like think the announcement and actually getting them in the ring, because we were all kind of like thinking about like should we do an entrance and stuff like that, but I just remember saying to the guys like, there's no meet and greet at this show. None of the fans are going to see you beforehand. As soon as you step out on that stage, everyone's going to go crazy, and because the realization of they actually are really here, and I think it worked really, really well. So yeah, but I mean, it just depends. I mean, you can come back to me in another 2 years, and I would say, I mean, I thought we'd peaked when we had Judgment Day, but who would have thought X would have came onto the show, or we would have got this done, or but yeah, I mean, they're all, to be honest with you, like they're all incredibly special to me. They're all special moments. Like I could start naming them offhand, like to have Minoru Suzuki in the ring, to have to have Cody in the ring, to have the Lucha Bros in the ring, to have so many of the top talents in the world. Gunther, to see what he's gone on and done, and what he's doing at the moment. It's been amazing to kind of look back and say like they're on our catalog. You can go onto our on demand and watch their matches in Dublin. So yeah, there's so many of them that have been special. Even Drew McIntyre for that short little period of time. Pac, Moxley. There's just a never-ending list of amazing talents that we've been very, very lucky to be able to bring here.
I can't wait for 2 years' time. We sit down and go, man, can't believe Triple H was in the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, the FiveMarks sister channel, The Brawlers Arcade, is now live. The exclusive home of the FiveMarks gaming content and so much more coming your way in 2025. Right now, you can go check out as myself, Carmo, and Will battle out in my GM series. As well, you'll have the My Rise and all that good 2K content coming very, very soon. Not only do we have gaming content, but we are doing documentaries. Right now, you can check out a documentary featuring Francis Mercer and his rise, and as well, much more exclusive content coming very, very soon. So, hey, why not go subscribe right now? And I'm not telling you, you go subscribe. I'm going to make sure you subscribe. Hit that. I know you're watching. Hit the button. Hit the button! Hit the button!
Another person asked, you kind of talked about this a while ago, but will OTT ever return to Waterford?
I don't think we would do. We were initially supposed to do it just as we were going into the pandemic. I don't think we would do the massive. I think it's the WIT arena. I think it's just so gigantic. But absolutely, if there's venues out there, that's what we're saying. If there's venues out there, we want to come there. It's just finding venues that work for wrestling. Like it's actually insane to think that there's no real venues in Cork that OTT Wrestling can run an event. It's just sad times, I suppose. It's the same in Waterford. If we had all these venues, we would be running them. But if anyone knows a Waterford venue, feel free to drop a DM.
You've heard everybody. Go scouting out. Next question coming from the Twitter side of things. Another take question. No. I was actually going to ask this as well. So, merchandise. There's the online store on the website. Is that completely gone now, or will there be kind of the new updated merch put on there at some point?
So originally we were looking after it ourselves. It became a bit too much. We've kind of also moved their office around. We did have this German company that we're going to take it over, and it is up there at the moment, but it's an absolute nightmare to use. The interface is just not nice. So we are looking for alternative ways to get merchandise online. It was such a shame. We went to all this hassle with this German company who made all these promises, and then when they delivered, the back end of the website just had so many bugs. It's not nice to use. So we are on the lookout for kind of another merchandise distributor.
Perfect.
These questions are kind of back to back. I'm going to ask these two questions in a row. Again, you've kind of already talked about running places, but one person asked, is there a plan to return to Wolves? And another person asked, is there a plan to run the 3 Arena?
Wolves, I would say, hopefully. It's just been kind of hard to tie it in. Wolves can be a little bit of a risky one, financially. But yeah, definitely, I would say. We'd like to do more stuff in the UK in general. So, maybe. Um, what was the other question?
The 3 Arena.
Wolves, the Tree Arena. Um, Never say never. I mean, that's the famous thing, in wrestling. But I mean, you would need a heavy, heavy, heavy roster to do the Tree Arena. But absolutely never say never. You never know what's going to happen around the corner. So maybe one day.
So, Edward has sent a nice little letter, and if I refuse to answer his question again, I will be sued. When will we see Edward Stewart Tate live and in color again? P.S. Joe, I love you.
OTT Insider. It usually drops every, couple of times a month. So that would probably be the best place to see Tate if you're interested in getting a Tate fix for yourself. Check out OTT Insider right now on YouTube.
You got your plug, Tate.
That's a good answer. The next question comes from the golden one, Robert. I think it's quite a tough question as well. If someone who hadn't seen a wrestling match before and wanted to watch an OTT match for the first time, what match would you recommend?
Wow. I don't know. Um, Maybe Walter Devlin. It'd be
That's
quite a good
good.
one to watch. I always like the 5-man, 6-man from the Tivoli. One more. Um, any speedball match. Any speedball Mike Bailey match.
I'm surprised you didn't throw yourself versus Pete Dunne inside there.
I'm not big on kind of watching my old stuff back. I don't know how that match holds up to this day. I think like the problem with like my stuff from the Tivoli is that like even though it's what I'm most known for, it's not any of my best stuff because I was always producing those shows. So I'd get to the venue and I'd have to, get the ring set up. I would have to organize the talent getting to the venue, oversee the production of the show, liaise with the camera guys, kind of hold the meetings. This is what we need to do, and then kind of tell everybody what they had to get over in their matches. And then I would have to go, midway through the show and put my boots on and try and put a match together for myself. So it was incredibly stressful, but I don't know. None of the Tivoli stuff I would kind of consider my good stuff because it was all done under massive amount of stress. It's very, very hard to produce a show by yourself and go out there and perform on it as well. So it was kind of traumatizing to be very honest with you. So I don't know. I don't know how any of those matches kind of hold up to this day. I could watch them now and be like, oh my God. But yeah.
I have another question coming over from Twitter. We've already answered the ambassador one, but any more regular 16 to 18 age shows?
I tend not to notice any difference between the shows. It's like we're not a company that goes out there and you know, like I mean, you might get the odd extra swear word on, and even that I'm not a big fan of. Like, but there's no. I understand it from the point of view of not having kids running around at the show, but like, there's not much of a major difference in the shows that are 18 and 16, or sorry, that are like 16 and up, as opposed to the all ages shows. But I do get it. Like, it's a different vibe when it's all just adults sitting around drinking. I would say that the ambassador will continue on to be 16 and up. Um, yeah, so yeah, hopefully we can do more of the ambassador shows that will be in that age rack.
Back over to Facebook, Carmel.
I have a question here, and I know, Martin, you have a couple of questions about this fella as well.
Oh.
It goes by the name of Robbie Mack. He's wondering, can you please return his phone call and when can he get booked?
I don't know who Robbie Mack is.
as do most people. I will say we've had a lot of Robbie Mack when he's getting booked. So
From Robbie Mack or from other people?
I've been told not to disclose this information. Uh, uh, On to the next question from Facebook, Carmo.
From Facebook, again, another kind of two people ask kind of roughly the same question. One, what can we expect from Scrapper Mania this year? And can we get a Scrapper name announced?
Still working on it. It's a bit of a stressor, but I think all the major kind of Irish matches are kind of, kind of set after our ambassador show. But still working on it, and hopefully it all comes together very soon.
We have a question here from our own spray paint Scott. Who would win in a flex off? Scott Steiner or Joe at his peak?
It's funny. I actually got to do I think I was on a tour with Steiner for like 2 weeks, uh, back in the day, and I had to go see him. I had to go to gym with him one day, so I'd kind of like gotten to, I got around to ask him like, what time you train at tomorrow? And he's like 9 a.m. So I went down the lobby for him, and the gym was like literally kind of, it was like literally 60 seconds walk from the hotel. And we went in, and of course, I kind of queued for the gym, and Scott seen the open barrier, and he just walked through, and the receptionist was calling him back, and he just kind of no so he just kept walking. So I went up, and I was like, can I just get a day pass for the gym? I just want to, train for a couple of hours. And they're like, no, we don't do that here, and you can't pay by session. You have to be a member here. And is that your friend? I was like, yeah, it's kind of. It's like he can't train here either. You have to tell him. I was like, why don't you tell him? So just as I was about to leave, Scott came over, and he was like, "You're not going to let him train." He's like, "This guy has been touring. You're not going to let him train." That's what he kept saying. You're not going to let him train. You're not going to let him train. And Scott was like this was post a rerun, so he was still fairly gigantic. And in the end, the guy just kind of gave up and says, "You can both stay. You can both train." And then I would say it was probably about 20 minutes later, I looked around, and the entire tour had come to the gym to train, and it had just become overrun with these huge wrestlers. But yeah, it was incredible to just be on a bus with Scott Steiner for 2 weeks. But yeah, he's the man for sure.
He didn't cut a math promo on the tour bus, no.
No, no, but it was kind of funny because he couldn't wrap it. He was so used to the weights being in pounds, he couldn't get the kg. So he kept saying like, "What's this in pounds? What's this in pounds?" And I wouldn't dare talk about or joke about a Steiner maths to him. I wasn't that close to him.
Have you another one from Facebook, Carmo?
Yeah, I've maybe two, maybe three more, but this one is: do you have a favorite fan?
They're all my favorite fans. Everyone's like that's the most amazing thing over the past few years. Is like we've never really had an issue with any fans, and any of the issues that happen, they kind of. I'm always kind of like blessed where I can say there's never any issue ever fans when I'm talking to a venue like the complex. We kind of spoke about the complex previously before. It's like it was very hard to get wrestling into the complex because they didn't want it, and again, it was just like they didn't know what wrestling was. They didn't understand what it was, but I, kept reassuring them like that. Your fans are not MMA fans. They're just passionate fans who love professional wrestling, and they know that OC is the only place they can get amazing professional wrestling. So they're all going to be the best behaved because nobody wants to get barred. I said like we've never had an issue, and I'm still very proud to this time. Like we've never really had any issues with the fans. The fans truly are the best. And without the support, like we can't do this. So I always genuinely from the bottom of my heart really appreciate everybody who's bought a ticket and has helped us do this because like Jordan wouldn't be where he is, Ferg wouldn't be where he is, like Aoife wouldn't be where he is. None of these people would be without where they are now, without getting to perform in front of our fans. So everyone is like truly grateful from the bottom of our hearts. We really do appreciate everybody who comes along. And I know it's not always. It's kind of like unfortunate because, like myself, I kind of heard some fans kind of saying, about the tickets being expensive and stuff like that, and it's just that's unfortunately just the situation that has become Dublin. It's like venues have just become so outrageously expensive. It's sad to see, like, beer is like nearly €8. It's just, it's nothing to do with OC. It's just we're caught up in it. We're caught up in the insurance being so expensive. We're caught up in the flights going up. We're caught up in the fact that the hotels, there's a shortage of hotels, so hotels are expensive. It's just Dublin, unfortunately. So, it's certainly not us, but yeah. Again, just getting back to it, like we always, for the bottom of our hearts, appreciate everybody who's been through, all the great times, and support us.
In the short answer, Rob Gold, you're not his favorite. I have a question here, and I know you kind of. Oh, sorry, go on.
I have a lot of time for Rob. I love Rob. Rob always brings a smile to my face with his big golden suit that you spot a mile away and his belt over his shoulder. Like, he is OTT. He's like a part of the furniture. He's like a little mascot of OTT. Like Rob. So it's just, you just see these fans, and it just kind of brings a smile to your face, because you can see as well as they're equally as passionate in the crowd as they are with the guys behind the scenes. Or it keeps us on. You know what I mean? It keeps us kind of like, and Steffi and all those people, just it just keeps us going, I suppose.
No one's asked this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. When's he getting his match with Damo?
I don't need that lawsuit. So,
now, I know you've answered this one already with the Judgment Day, but I'll do the person. I'll give him the question. What has been your favorite moment in OTT other than the Judgment Day?
I suppose, like, the Judgment Day is the big one, but there's so many small things that probably wouldn't have even meant anything to anybody else that meant so much to me. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many, kind of like maybe having somebody that I knew was going through a hard time, and, kind of like seeing them getting over and seeing what they've had to overcome. So there's so many times that, like, personal things that have happened, like, being with, like, Be Cool, and kind of, getting to work with B, and kind of putting those promos together. Like, there's some of the times that we'd be in the office till, like, 11:30, 12, writing promos and just cracking each other up. And no, we can't say that. No, that's too far. So yeah, like, there's obviously a lot of amazing moments that I got to share with the fans, but there's also a lot of a lot of moments that meant, kind of massive, massive to me. But in terms of, like, another massive favorite OTT moment, getting to work with, like, kind of Sean Ryan, and I knew we were onto something really amazing with those videos. And I knew that we were going to come knocking for Sean at some point, and I was just, kind of running with Sean for as much as I could. And getting to work with Sean and Jordan and Walter and all those guys, and producing those videos, and sitting there in the background, and, really kind of seeing it all come together, and seeing the passion Sean had for it as well. And, like, there's some amazing memories as well that I have. Finally getting the kind of the final edit in my hands, and us all achieving this. Yeah, there's so many moments, as I said, that meant so much to me. I remember sitting in my room, and the very first time Finn Balor appeared, if you remember, at the Tivoli, and Finn was like, it kept getting off, because it was like, Finn would come back to me and be like, there's a chance I might be able to show up at your December show. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, oh, I don't know, because I might not be in Ireland now, so I don't know. And then it was like, I think I might be able to do it. And this went on for like 3 weeks. But I'm finally getting Finn to say, on that date, I will 100% be there, was, magic. But there's been so many moments like that as well.
in terms of like when the guys come to you and say like, "Hey, so the door they came knocking," have you ever felt like a proud, almost like a proud like father, being like, because you've been signed to the W, you know what that feels like. Do you ever feel like, I'm so proud of you?
Of like the people who go on.
So the guy, yeah, so like people like Jordan Devlin, like Sean, like Walter, who have you've been in the space, you've kind of watched them, you've given them the opportunities to kind of move on to the bigger thing. Do you ever feel like that proud dad of like, I'm so happy for you and thank you for absolutely everything you did. But don't forget me, by the way.
Yeah, don't forget me part for sure. But I don't know. Like, I mean, when you speak to these guys as well, like the work ethic that they have is unbelievable. You kind of realize, like, they probably would have made it anyway. Um, I don't think there was going to be much that was going to stop, Walter and, Jordan. The two of them are just machines. And that's what I'm saying. Like, when you listen to Jordan speak to the young guys, like Jordan might just turn around and say, he might just waffle up a sentence and say, when you're doing your 100 squats in the morning, you should do them on an empty stomach. And then everyone's sitting there going, hold on a second, this guy just does 100 squats in the morning for no reason. Like, that's the mentality, like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys think differently. And when you, that's why it was so kind of important for us to get Finn and JD up to the school when they were back, just to talk with these guys, just to kind of like let the guys kind of understand their mentality.
Mm.
Because some people think they're working hard, and then you listen to somebody who's really working hard, and you go, I actually haven't been working that hard all I've actually got a few gears to step up. So, yeah.
Carmo, I have one more from Instagram that I'll leave for last because it's a good one. I'll let you run through what you have
As
left on
well.
Facebook there.
I have one more left as well, and it kind of talks about what we were just talking about there. So, who do you think is the future of OTT, male and female? And the second part of that is who is the GOAT of OTT?
Who's the future? I just think the future's so kind of solid for OTT. So many. I think Keen Noonan's going to have a. You see, the problem is if I start waffling off people are going to be like, "Oh, you never mentioned me." So, I think
Bring
Keen
these to be
Noonan has.
fun.
Yeah, I think Keen Noonan has you know, a really bright future if he can kind of like keep his head and he's a very kind of smart, mature lad. Um, but it's also been said to me by other people about Keen Noonan. So, people who watch Keenan say like he has something. I think Callum Black as well could be phenomenal. Um, I think BDE are kind of just waiting for a proper run, maybe to kind of like maybe at some point they'll kind of like shrug a bit of the comedy and kind of go on pretty serious. There's guys like Con Kelly and Luke Frettel who unfortunately just haven't had the opportunity, and they're so good but they just haven't had the opportunity. There's so much talent that's that's here in the School of Irish Wrestling, and the unfortunate part is that we can't even get them in front of fans because the talent pool in OT right now is just so deep. Not just for Irish wrestling, it's for kind of European wrestling. But if you look at that ambassador show, it was like so stacked. I mean, you had pretty much. I mean, Jim Smallman was at that show because you pretty much had the top European wrestlers at that event. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. There's so much talent coming through. It's there's not a shortness of talent. It's basically we need to give a talent. We're actually trying to find ways to give talent an opportunity. So there's a lot of great future prospects. In terms of who do I feel is the GOAT of OTT, I think for me it'll always be Jordan Devlin. Um, yeah, for me, I think he helped put us on the map. Um, his matches were always phenomenal. He always gave back. He was always there to help young lads, especially. Was never one of these guys that was like, no, I'm focused on my own shit. He would go to the UK. There used to be a deal where the UK WUK guys had to go to the UK, I think, every 3 weeks or something like that. And he'd go and do a solid week of training there, and then he would come back and he would do another week with the training with the guys. He really helped the scene and helped it. He wasn't selfish with his time. So for me, Jordan Devlin is the GOAT of OT.
My final fan Q&A question. What three things Joe wants to happen in OTT over the next 5 years? That could be having someone over, could be a big, big show, could be absolutely anything for OTT.
That it gets a little bit easier. It's still incredibly, incredibly hard to keep pulling off these shows and to keep going sometimes because it's quite grinding. I mean, I think sometimes as well, like, a booker probably has. If I was kind of thinking this the other day, I think if I was employed by OTT, I think I probably would have left after, the first National Stadium show because you do get worn out, and especially at that point as well, I was wrestling on the shows myself as well. I think I'd retired, not retired, but I'd taken myself off by the first National Stadium show. But like the first few years of getting OTT off the ground and wrestling on the shows and trying to put on top matches and not just carry OTT as a booker and a promoter and a creator and creative, but also as the champion as well. It was very, very tough. So it was kind of worn out after the stadium show, but here we are 10 years later still doing this. So just a bit more recognition as well, I suppose, for Irish wrestling. We still don't get any advertising. We still don't get any funding, even though they pump tons of money into other aspects of other arts and sports. I mean, we don't even get a meeting with the Arts Council. We're laughed at. OTT nearly went out of business because of the way wrestling is perceived in Ireland. So just a bit more recognition, I suppose, for what we do, for the fan base that we have, what we're trying to achieve here. We have such an amazing history of Irish wrestling, and it's only been here for 20 years, especially in the Republic. I know there was, kind of wrestling, up more so up the north of Ireland, but like in the Republic, we've really only had wrestling here 20 years, and look what we've produced. It's incredible, and it will continue because the School of Irish Wrestling and the way we coach people is the way it should be, and it's kind of like there's no one has been able to produce the talent that we have since COVID. You know what I mean? Like we've rebuilt. So yeah, I suppose like a bit of recognition, it would help me as well, kind of get more help and grow it. So, but in terms of like aspirations, that's kind of like my own personal aspirations. In terms of aspirations for the fans, I suppose. Just to keep doing what we're doing, keep trying to make the best wrestling that we possibly can. Keep trying to, make dream matches. Try to, do the impossible, like having WWE Tag Team Champions on your show. So, I mean, that's kind of all we can continue on doing for the fans, and just kind of pushing on forward and trying to make it bigger and bigger and bigger and grow and grow and grow. I think what we've done since COVID, I mean, we've promoted shows in Italy and we've promoted shows in Wolves, and we're just gonna, keep going and keep bringing the fans the best that we can.
Three brilliant answers. So, and I do hope that things for Irish wrestling can get better. But like that's kind of all the fan questions we have. We'd like to thank everyone, obviously, for sending them in, because I know everybody has a million questions that they want to ask yourself. So if we missed any, we do apologize. We try to get to everybody. Okay. I think as on behalf of the fans, we'll say thank you for giving us OTT and everything, giving us wrestling to look forward to. There is nothing better for us than OTT. The fact that we all know how hard it is to go to wrestling shows. It's getting a lot easier now, but having OTT is that kind of something to look forward to, and you're no matter what you're paying, it's going to be an absolutely brilliant show. Thank you for putting on all the shows that and giving us the best wrestlers from Europe.
Well, thanks for the support. As I said there earlier, we can't do it without you guys, and we can't keep the scene going without your support. So you guys are the most important thing in all of it. We can't do it without you. So once again, from the bottom of my heart, and thank you guys as well, like because you are continue on kind of like creating content for wrestling fans to consume as well, which is nice, and kind of keeping it interesting and kind of giving fans something to ponder and kind of talk about as well. So we all appreciate you guys as well.
Thank you very much for the kind words.
Thank you.
We appreciate it very much. So, Carmel, do you want to say anything before start to hand it off?
You know what? I'm conscious of your time, Joe, so I'll leave it for the next time that we have you on.
We kind of do this to everyone now. I think we don't need to promote anything because OTTs kind of it's the biggest thing. We give 2 or 3 minutes to promote, say, do whatever the hell you want to do. So 2 or 3 minutes, it's all yours, Joe.
Um, I don't know. Like I've kind of said it all before. I just want to thank everyone for the continued support over the years. It kind of strives us on, and it strives me to keep on doing what we do, and to also kind of help the next generation come through of Irish wrestling. Very very proud as to what we have achieved in terms of like people look at Irish wrestling like as the place to go see indie wrestling, which has been so important. So, um, all I can say is thank you for your support, and if you do, like the video on demand kind of helps us keep going. Like I always say it as well, like we don't have any supports, we don't have any major advertisers, we don't have any kind of grants or exemptions or anything like that. So, um, yeah, just thank you everyone for the support. I also want to thank as well, like all the guys. Um, like there's so many people who make those shows possible. Like you look at that show, The Ambassador, like we're there since 10 o'clock that morning, putting rings together and realizing that there's not enough light, and what do we do next, and kind of putting banners up and getting merchandise ready. So there's such a gigantic team. It's not just myself that is bringing out the team, making it viable. So. Uh, Kind of like a massive thanks to those guys as well, because if I can't take everything on myself, so it's nice to be able to delegate some of the stuff to those guys, and I can kind of be very very sure that we have a team that's good enough now that I can get the venue turned around and ready to go for the fans. So yeah, just to kind of sum it up, I just want to thank the fans for the support, and then I just want to thank the roster for their continued support in making. There's so many, as I said, there's just so many people that are making OT kind of turnover. So I'm really grateful to all those people, and thanks for the continued support.
And I don't think we need to say it. If you're listening to this interview, you're already following. Make sure to follow all OTT socials on TikTok and not sorry, Twitter and
We are on
Instagram.
TikTok now though.
Oh, and TikTok. There you go.
Yeah, TikTok is a thing now. We're kind of working on that one. So.
And as well, as you mentioned, OTTOnDemand.com. It's fairly cheap. So, sign up. You can check all the content up there. Everything
Sign up, and it keeps us going, and also you kind of get kind of like access to all the previous shows. So if you ever kind of like wondered about a match or heard about a match on OTT, it's most likely up there because like the stuff goes back to the Tivoli. So all the stuff is up there.
It was very helpful for my 10-year video.
Nice.
So be sure, go subscribe. You want to see Pete Dunne at the Ambassador? It's already up there. Go check it out. And as well, May 3rd, Scrappermania, get your tickets now as well. They're on sale. Joe, thank you so much for giving us your time. We appreciate you coming on. You can follow us, FiveMarks Podcast, on YouTube, Instagram, FiveMarks Pod, X, and TikTok. Carmo, it's your favorite part. You get to do the outro.
Follow OTT Insider as well. I don't know if that was mentioned or not. Joe, thanks so
Don't
much for
follow
sitting down with us.
Tate.
It's an absolute pleasure. And hopefully we can do it again in the future.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me. Take care.
Cheers, Joe. Bye.
And that was the man, the myth, the legend, the man behind OTT, Joe Cabray. Thank you again, Joe, for coming on, sitting down with us. We very, very much appreciate you giving some of your time to us.
Yeah, it's been looking fantastic. And again, as we kind of mentioned there towards the end, if we didn't get your fan question, we do apologize.
Unless you're Tate.
There was a lot of them there. But look, we'll hopefully have Joe on again and we can get back to those questions. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
100% it is. Thank you all for listening. If you aren't already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us to get more and more people on here. The more subscribers, the bigger the names we can get on. So if you aren't and you're part of that 60-odd% that aren't subscribed, what should they do, Carmel?
I don't know.
Subscribe!
Yeah.
Subscribe!
Thanks for being a part of the show.
Subscribe!
We can do the FiveMarks Pro Wrestling podcast for another episode.
Subscribe!